Hi, it's Megan. So I'm a huge matte lipstick fan, and I don't know, I have this soft spot for MAC matte lipsticks, but I feel like this year in particular the matte offerings have been just like getting thrown at us head over fist, and there's like the creamy mattes and the semi mattes and the this and that mattes, and MAC just came out with a whole new bunch of matte lipsticks, except it's a little bit more complicated than that. So I counted 24 shades, and a lot of these are shades that have been released before, but a lot of them were limited edition, and so some of them I haven't. Actually, one of the very first YouTube videos I did was with the Retro Matte collection a year and a half, whatever it was. And so I'm going to put a link to that video in the description to this video. I'm not going to shoot a whole new video showing them the colors, because from what I read online they haven't changed and I didn't reorder them. They are the same, and so you can just look at those to see the Retro Matte colors that are in this new collection. And this is all mattes. Most of the ones I got are actually new, although not all of them, and they're not the Retro Matte, which is a little bit of a stiffer formula in my opinion. If you've got dry lips, it can tend to bunch a little bit stiffer, a little bit drier. These are not quite that creamy matte look, but they're getting closer to that. Feels almost like a regular lipstick, wears almost like a regular lipstick kind of thing. And I don't have a dry lip problem, so I can only comment on how they work on me, but I haven't had problems. Most of them wore beautifully, and I'll go through color by color, but most of them I really have only good things to say about. And my lipsticks are mostly a mess, not all of them. Something happened to my box on the way here, and some people I've heard complain about MAC customer service. I think they have among the best service of any beauty brand ever. So they are sending replacements for the ones that are just completely mauled. I'm still going to do a video on them because I have them, and I want to get the video up sooner rather than later. As I'm shooting this video, only one of them is sold out, and that's Royal, and that is one of the colors that I have. And it is one of the colors that's mauled. So I got an out of stock notification this morning saying that it would probably ship within 2 weeks. So if you do want to get it when it says out of stock, they're promising like 2 weeks. So there were 12 new colors. I did not get them all. Will I get more? I don't know. I mean, they're mattes maybe, and I like MAC lipsticks. So the one I have on right now is Whirl. So anyway, these are $16 for 0.1 ounce. And so Whirl is described as a dirty rose with obviously a matte finish, and a lot of the newer colors, a lot of the colors were a little browner than I expected. So this one you can see it's like a medium dark, kind of a rose brown. Definitely can see the brown in it. I love this color. It's a warmer color, right? Brown and rose tend to be a little bit warmer, and it wears on me about 3 hours. I don't have a drying problem. I don't have a bunching problem. I definitely don't have a bleeding problem with any of these. If anything, it's more going to settle into lip lines and look dry as opposed to bleeding. And they all wore pretty easily, but as they were applying, they were pretty light and creamy in texture, really all of them. So it's not one of those super stiff, heavy, gunky kind of matte feeling lipsticks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change them all on camera so you can see how they work. I love Whirl. I think it's really beautiful. I do wonder, it seems pretty opaque, but I do wonder, I've got pretty rosy colored lips. I'm kind of feeling like this one's going to look a little bit different on people that don't have strong lip color like I do. And that's the reason you'll see in the other video with the first video I did with the old Retro Mattes, I don't actually apply them on camera, but I found over time that my lips do change the color of a lot of lipsticks. This is another one I absolutely love. I just think it's so beautiful. This is called Velvet Teddy, and it's described as a deep tone beige with a matte finish. This one is, let me compare these two. I should be doing the swatches anyway on my wrist. Let me compare these two next to each other. So this one I think is definitely lighter. It's definitely rosier. And it's definitely less brown than the Whirl. And I also feel like it's got a little bit more sheen. So you can see the darker, well, I guess, you know, that's really funny. It doesn't look rosier off next to each other, but it definitely looks rosier on my lips. And it definitely does look like a little bit of a beige. I love colors like this just because I like to play up my eyes. And I also am often in a hurry, and I like just a color that will match most of the blushes that I have. I do feel like with a lot of these in this particular collection, you have to be a lot more careful with the blush that you use. They're just really strong colors. Even something like this is just, it's got that real brown undertone, so you really can't do certain types of blushes, like really cool toned pink blushes. So I did feel like, well, we have to be a little bit more careful with the, let's just do the Matte Royal next, why not, since that's the one that sold out, with the blushes. It made it harder to do the video because I did a mix of warmer and cooler shades. So I had to kind of mix in a pink with a little bit of brown and do all kinds of things. So this is one of my mulled ones. This is the Matte Royal. And this is not just blue. It's really a royal blue with a lot, or more than a little bit of a slug of purple in it. It's harder to apply. It's harder to apply, not, ooh, that lighting just changed. It's raining here, so the lighting outside is changing as the sun shifts with the rain, whatever. It's a little bit harder to apply, not because of the lipstick, but because they all were broken at the very tip down here, or the very base. And so I have to, they flop around. With a color like this, you have to be really careful to dot right in here, because you're gonna see that pink otherwise, whatever your lip color is. When you talk, and that's also going to be where it wears away first. So sometimes even putting a little bit of like a powder, like putting it on, then putting a little powder, then putting a little bit more on, it's going to make it wear a lot better. But you can definitely see there is a huge, definite tint of purple in that. So this is described as a deep blue with matte finish, and it's definitely cool. It again is a little bit more shiny than a pure matte, like that satin matte thing. And I didn't think that it applied, even given the fact that it's broken, I didn't think it applied as well as some of the others. It takes a lot more effort to build it up. It's almost got, no, it does have, it doesn't almost have, it is a little bit more sheer than the others, if that makes sense. It's definitely an opaquer lipstick, but compared to the others, it's a little bit more sheer, a little bit less opaque. And given that it's a royal blue, that shows a little bit more, because then you see your own lip color. It makes it more wearable. And what I actually will do with this shade, since I don't wear royal blue very often outside my house, I actually like to mix colors like this. I've been really into mixing lip colors, and so I sometimes like to mix a little bit of like a blue undertone or a purple. I like the fact that it's got kind of that blue and purple thing going on both. And I was wearing it yesterday with purple on one eye and blue on the other, just because I was trying out this Wet n Wild eyeshadow palette, and it was so pretty, I have to say. It does stain slightly. The darker shades do stain on me slightly. So the next one I have is Men Love Mystery, and again, it's one of my mulled ones. You can just see it applies better than the Royal. And this one was brighter than I expected. So Men Love Mystery is described as a lavender violet with a matte finish, and it's kind of a medium to dark purple, and it's actually a little bit warmer than I expected, and it seems to have like not so much of a gray undertone as some of the other purples I've seen recently, but more like a slight pinky orchid to it. It's a very, very, very pretty shade, and it applies very evenly. A little, like I said, better than the Royal. The Royal lasted about 3 hours on me. They all lasted about 3 hours, with some of the darker ones that are coming staining a little bit and seeming to last a little bit longer. And then I also think the first two, just because they are so natural looking, they kind of wear away, fading slowly, so that they seem like they wear longer. Okay, let's do Antique Velvet next. This one, honestly, was awful on me. It is awful on me. Not was. That's what it looks like. And it's way browner and a little bit patchier than I expected. So it's right there. Very opaque. Again, with a color this kind of off your natural color, you have to dot in here to get it to... It has a cool kind of a velvety look to it, but so they describe it as intense brown with matte finish, but I don't know, I saw some swatches online beforehand and I thought it looked less brown than it looks on me. Kind of a cool color, a lot more chocolatey, but it also has kind of a reddish tint to it. So as opposed to being one of those reds with like a brown tint, this is a brown with a red tint, and it is very opaque, and it has kind of that velvety look to it, which some mattes have, but yet it seems to have a slight satin sheen to it as well. So it's kind of an interesting color. What this will do, let me do it. Blotted like this and with a gloss, if I'm wearing warmer toned eyes, I can actually almost get away with it. The next one is the same kind of shade where it looks better blotted on me than done just like flat out. By the end, yes, I start getting that vampire look. But I do think that there is value. You can see I'm starting to get a slight staining too from the last one, the last two. This is Instigator, and this is described as a deep blackened plum. It's right there. It's a little patchier than the other colors, which, given that it's a dark color, is not necessarily a good thing. And it's like a really deep purple pink berry, very wine colored, and it definitely has that blackened look to it, which, you know, you can apply like a black into some of these colors to get this kind of a look, but this is already in it, and it is pretty opaque, but it's a little bit patchier, definitely cooler toned. I love the blackened look to it. I think this is a really cool color. So going back, this and the next one, Studded Kiss, were part of a punk rock collection that MAC did last year. And this is actually the only color I think I can ever say I bought from MAC, like a lip color, that I actually returned used. I just don't usually do that. I bought it at Nordstrom. I just love the color. And then I freaked out because it had that blackened look. But this is how it's pretty, just softly patted on, and it's actually better with the gloss just because it does have a slight patchiness to it. But this is actually how I can wear it, and it's not quite as dramatic. I mean, I actually have now learned to embrace these kind of colors, which is why when it came back out, I'm like, oh, that's the one I have to have. And you can see I look like a vampire, and there's staining going on now, just a little bit. The last one I have is Studded Kiss, and then I'm going to show you my stone lip pencil, because I didn't get the stone lipstick, but I do have the pencil, so I figured I would just put it on really quickly and just show you the color. But it's obviously not going to look exactly the same because it's the pencil, which is different and drier. So the last one is Studded Kiss. This is described as a dark ox blood red, again with a matte finish. And It's a red burgundy. It's a little bit blackened, not super blackened like Instigator, but you can see a little bit of that blackened look to it. And it is pretty opaque, not completely opaque. That was what's odd about a lot of these. They're mostly opaque, they're mostly matte, but except for the retro mattes, a lot of them like this one have just a slight sheen. It's that satin matte thing going on again. And this one and Instigator both lasted a good 3.5, almost 4 hours on me, a lot longer. Although they did fade away. I do like the way both of these fade away. It's just such a pretty look in my opinion. So I like them. Now we're going to do my last little disaster. My thing is just looking awful now. And I'm going to wipe all this away. And I'm just going to show you this stone. Oh God. So this is the color. Yes, I look great. I look purple. It's always nice when you've got a purple face. This is the color of the stone. And from what I've read online, the color's consistent. I love that purple. So this is not the lipstick, but the lip pencil looks taupe, but with a little bit of a purple undertone, like a lavender undertone to it. I actually bought this to pair with that sparkly beige Rihanna lipstick, which looked together with this a lot like the Tom Ford Stavros lipstick, because I was playing around at MAC one day when I had the Stavros on and we discovered that. So that's kind of what it looks like. I don't know if that's helpful, but I figured I would do it since I had the lip pencil. So overall, I do really like these. I think that they vary. They're not as fully kind of matte, opaque, consistent. They do wear well, but not as well as some other matte lipsticks I have. If I were to pick my favorites, well, I think that's not fair just because the undertones on these vary so much. But I guess I really like Whirl and Velvet Teddy and I guess Instigator. But that's just a personal preference. They're all, I think, really pretty colors. You just have to watch with some having super cool undertones versus some having super warm kind of brown undertones, and then really work carefully to make your blush match. And I will put a link to the video I did with those retro mattes, and if anyone's interested to kind of see a look with one of these, or because like I said 50 zillion times, the blush thing is complicated, see how to kind of make it work with the blush if on any of the ones I have, just let me know and I will do that video. Please subscribe on YouTube. If you have other colors I don't have, I would love to hear what you have to think. And overall, look, I love these matte collections, so overall I'm happy, but I think some people won't be as thrilled as I am. That's my honest assessment. But MAC is doing a great job taking care of the fact these just arrived, most of them completely just annihilated. Anyway, that's it. Subscribe on YouTube and thanks for watching.